and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ms. Ryan? Present. Mr. Redmond?
Here.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. King? Here. Mayor Nolan?
Here.
First item on the agenda is consent agenda.
Anybody have anything on the consent agenda they want to pull off and talk about separately at the table? No? Okay, I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan. I'll second. Seconded by Ms. King. Ms. Ryan? Yes. Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie? Ms. King? Yes. Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
Moving on to other resolutions. Resolution R14-143 was a resolution appointing summer seasonal. If I can get a motion to table this to the June 18th meeting.
I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
Second it.
Second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes. Carolyn, as discussed, I guess, before with the other council members, you want to table 2 and 3?
The rest are 145, 146?
Yeah.
Okay, motion for both of them to table?
Please.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Francie. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
Resolution appointing part-time special police officer, class 2, that would be Ryan Buck.
Okay, Chief Blewett here.
Yes.
This is somebody you want to?
Yes.
Okay, they meet all the requirements, I assume?
They do.
I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. King? Yes. Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
I'll do that one first. Okay, we have an ordinance that we're going to be introducing this evening. It's going to be ordinance 0-14-15. An ordinance pursuant to NJSA 48:7-13, annexing a parcel of land partially within Lot 1, Block 7, located in the borough of Atlantic Highlands. And we will set this for the public hearing date, July 16th.
Bruce, you want to explain in layman's terms where that is?
June 18th.
Okay, June 18th meeting. Bruce, where is that in layman's terms?
That resolution deals with the proposed development over at the downtown trailer park. As people may or may not know, I know the governing body knows, there's a parcel of land, a strip that runs along that is actually in Atlantic Highlands.
Closest to the park.
Right, and there's a petition filed with, there's a mechanism under state law where there's a petition filed in Atlantic Highlands to de-annex that property and annex it to the parcel here into Highlands. And this is part of that process to annex that.
Okay,
So that becomes Highlands property.
and right now we're making a proposed June 18th public meeting.
Yes.
I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
Second.
Second by Mr. Francie. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
Ordinance on for second reading and public hearing at this time is ordinance 0-14-14, and ordinance authorizing acceptance of transfer of real property from the Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewage Authority, block 40.01, lot 21.01. This was published in the May 25th edition of the Asbury Park Press, and it may now be open for a public hearing.
Anybody have any comments on it? It's 1414, correct, Aaron?
Yes.
14-14 ordinance. Seeing none, I'll close public portion.
On for final reading and adoption, ordinance 0-14-14, ordinance authorizing acceptance of transfer of real property from Atlantic Highlands Regional Sewage Authority, block 40.01, lot 21.01.
I'll offer it.
Offered by Mayor Nolan.
Second it.
Second by Mr. Redmond. Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie?
Yep.
Ms. King? Yes. Mayor Nolan.
Please.
Moving on to committee reports. Finance?
That would be Mr. Blasio.
Yes, okay. A few weeks ago, we mailed out our grant packages to the DCA for budget approval for insertion in our 2014 budget. We had the summer food grant of $11,797 and a rain barrel installation project for $10,000. On tonight's meeting, we had the Clean Communities grant for $10,888. We'll be sending out that package to the state by this Friday.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Blasio?
That's it.
Okay. Any questions from the governing body? Okay. Seeing none. Thank you, sir. Public safety?
I submitted my report, Mayor. The only one report that we did have, an officer graduated from the police academy. We will be presently in field training for the next 10 weeks to 12 weeks. Mayor, we've gone over.
Perfect, thank you, sir. Administration, Mr. Hill?
Okay, Mayor, tonight I'll just review the various recovery-related items. We are continuing to meet with FEMA officials regards to facilities. We do have another meeting set up with the SRO folks next Tuesday to go over both the Borough Hall and the Community Center facilities as they exist. We also been informed that we're eligible and we have applied for an additional HMGP grant for the new sewer station, which was the property we just did by ordinance. But there was a grant put in by the dissolved sewage authority. Now that they're dissolved, both towns have to take that on, and we are seeking funds to follow up with that process. I have been given information from Seabright Rising, the St. Bernard project, and I did mention at the last meeting, but they wanted me to reiterate, and I think it's important, there are income limits and program criteria that must be met. Lynn Shapiro is the volunteer case manager for the program. If anyone wants her number, it's 732-673-1796. And that's a program that's helps people who don't have perhaps the financial means to get back into their homes, but the St. Bernard's Project is operating through Seabright Rising. In addition, the Bayshore Resource Center is opened up at 426 Highway 36. The gentleman up there is the director, is Mr. Ben Haygood. If you need assistance or have questions about some programs, they're there to offer assistance as well in the recovery efforts. We have submitted information to the NJDCA for the unsafe structure program, which may enable us again to tend to structures left over from Sandy. Again, it's a long process, but we are in that process with DCA. We have submitted the original list from FEMA and updated as we can go to add in whatever we can. Department of Public Works, basically, the rounds are continuing. They did continue with some pothole repairs. We had sewer clogs at various locations, actually 3, 2 were ours. I think 1 was reported not of our issue. I do want to remind everyone, brush pickup in zones will be throughout June, and the last townwide bulk pickup is also scheduled through June. So check the map for your zones, make sure you put out only the appropriate items, and that should go smoothly. Building and housing from May 1st to the 31st. Construction office had 12 actual permits issued, but 12 applications, but 53 permits that were issued through that process. Total construction fees received was in excess of $24,000. The inspection details, they had 76 building inspections, 68 electric, 32 plumbing, and 5 fire. Total value of construction performed was over $789,000. Year to date, 167 permits, $78,000 in fees, an approximate construction value of $2.287 million has been recorded on the books since the beginning of the year. Zoning office, 18 approvals, 2 denials, a mercantile approval. In the floodplain, he had 15 approvals, 4 flood zone determinations. People do request letters of compliance for their insurance company, so the zoning official floodplain does also give those out. Code enforcement, 39 COs. From the code enforcement end, 9 violations were cited, 4 summonses were issued. They continue to send out letters requesting compliance to help encourage residents. In the property maintenance end, there were 8 violations. 11 additional were resolved prior to summons. What we try to do is send out letters and work with the property owners if at all possible. And the property maintenance official has reported that 11 were resolved before it had to go to summonses being issued. There's also 12 additional issues that residents brought to her attention that were worked out with the resident and maybe a neighbor. So I think they're trying to work with people as well, and I do commend them on their efforts. Recreation program, of course, the Kids on the Move program will be ending in June. That served 51 kids throughout the year. Will start up again in September. Summer rec will be here at the elementary school starting July 7th. You need to register by June 20th. Key nights for June are scheduled the 6th, 20th, and 27th of June, and we're lucky and fortunate that the elementary school makes that facility available. We do have sports camps, basketball, softball, baseball, and field hockey. All that information is up on the website if you want to check it, or contact the Recreation Department at Extension 232 down at the Borough Hall. I have been asked to mention that the Recreation Department is still in need of lifeguards for this upcoming season. So we have, I think, very few applicants. I think 2 applicants weren't certified guards, so we can't hire. Under administration, under the projects identified early in the year, we do have 6 completed now. I'm happy to say we're plucking them off. And 20 of those, or 14 of those projects are underway. I expect about 3 or 4 to be done within the next 2 weeks. We continue to work with the Borough of Atlantic Highlands on the transition of the sewage authority. We did get word today, too, that the force main project has been approved by the DEP, meaning DEP is ready to sign off on the force main project that was done up the top of the hill. That means NJEIT will be releasing funds that were paid back to the borough in excess of about $158,000. The only other thing I want to say, we did meet with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority reps. Our streetscape project is in the environmental review process, which can take up to about 70 days. So that grant that we applied for, $1.5 million, that's well on its way. It is in the environmental review process. Lastly, Fort Hancock 21st Century meeting was held on May 30th at Twin Lights. Much of the discussion was regarding the preparation of the actual RFP that's supposed to go out later this summer or early fall. Last but not least, the contractor has committed, but we'll go with what he says, to begin the work on Shore Drive and to finish up the Washington Avenue project the week of June 9th. So we're going to hold them to that the best we can. They're 2 small projects. We want to get them off the charts. That's my report for tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Highland Business Partnership, Carlos Apollos here, President.
Thank you. I don't have a written one, but I can give a recap. For our Visual Improvement Committee, our new signage, wayfare, and park signs will be installed on June 5th, I believe tomorrow. And we're finalizing our Bay Avenue maintenance program. For marketing and events, we attended 2 shows within the last month. We attended the Great Borough Bike Race and Pride in Asbury, where we promoted the community. We also finished our final print of the visitor guide, and we have all the new shipments that are being distributed throughout the county and the region, the state. The Lieutenant Governor visited Highlands, as everyone knows, to kick off the Open for Business campaign, and went to Havana, the Clatta, Highlands Pancake, and I just think that was really good. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, and Chalangos again. And I think that was a really good thing for us. And we are also in the process of waiting to hear from our marketing grant. We have our Taste of Highlands coming up on June 28th from noon to 5. We have 21 stops on the Taste of Highlands this year. And then, of course, the 20th annual Clam Fest, July 31st, August 1st, 2nd, 3rd. For our Economic Development Committee, we have information regarding Veterans Park improvements, but I see that it's on the agenda, so
Put that on for 6 to be stayed on.
want me to read it now?
No, do it with comfort.
Okay. Thank you.
How was the craft fair?
And the craft day, yes, craft day.
How busy was it?
Good. It was very steady all day, everything was good day.
Good weather, obviously. Okay.
And Memorial Weekend was overall very good, very busy.
Everywhere,
Town.
I'm sure.
It was great to see the town bustling.
Shared service, we have nothing in public. Other business, guys?
Mayor's appointment to planning board?
I'd like to offer Stacy Vickery, alternate number 1.
I'm sorry, not planning board, declaration.
What's that planning board?
Plan now.
But we have one on planning board, alternate number
We
1.
did we did that last time. So you want to hold this off till we do the that?
No, we did alternate number 2 for Mr. Francis.
Yes, and we moved Hilvick up to number 1.
Don't we have one other person?
Gordon up to regular.
Do we have one empty seat or no?
No,
Okay, then hold it off. I'm sorry, I thought we did.
I'm sorry, that's a typo.
No problem. I thought there was a letter of resignation that came in, no?
That was Mr. Schoner, and that's who,
And that was, okay, and then it left the empty vacancy? I think it was the second. We'll look at that.
Yep.
Green Acres funding?
Yeah, Mayor, I can at least give a brief update. The information did come out. It's a rather lengthy process, but we can potentially apply for Green Acre Fund. The borough, for certain projects, if we do acquisition, there's certainly dollars for that, or we can do outdoor recreation development areas. It is a loan in most cases, but in our particular instance, it may be a 25% grant depending upon the population category. So if there's any projects that the public is interested in bringing forth for the governing body, we can certainly look at potentially applying. They do, certainly give us forewarning that the funds are low because New Jersey has done a notoriously slow job at replacing those funds, and that the applications are very competitive. The grant deadline is July 31st, 2014, so we'll try to move on that if needed.
Is that it, Mr. Hill?
That's it at this point on this particular program.
Continuation in participation of the Community Development Block Grant Program.
Yeah, I can touch base on that too, and we can go back to the open space. The open space grant program is similar to Green Acres. It is the county program. That deadline, I think, is in September. I think we already reviewed that, but that's another option for potential funding for park development. That project is 50-50 match, though,
Okay.
construction only. So soft costs aren't covered by that particular grant, open space. You can do acquisition as well, but it's still 50-50.
Okay.
Moving on to community development. Historically, many of the communities in Monmouth County are part of the Monmouth County Community Development Program. If you opt out of the program and try to go solo, which some communities can do, but I think cities like Asbury Park, Middletown, and perhaps Long Branch are the communities that have gone on their own. I think Hal has too. A lot of the drawbacks of going out on your own is the administrative oversight and monies you need to put forward. Hal Township actually contracts back with the county to do their program because they're a pretty large town and they do stand to maybe get a couple more dollars. In our process, all the communities that are involved with this right now, we can apply up to $200,000 every other year for a community project. So I would recommend that we continue our participation in the CDBG program as it is. But I can get more information if you'd like
Sure.
to seek alternatives.
Okay. Mr. Francis, do you want to speak to the color?
Yes, we got a memorandum that council distributed by email to the
Correct.
council. It's very important. I did not understand, this is the third round COA program. This is asking for comments for 60 days. I think we should specifically target someone to either Tina or Mr. Nelson, I'm not sure, to make sure we understand the ramifications of what's in the our requirements.
Okay.
First time I've seen Highlands listed as having COA requirements, and some of them,
And the
I'm not
numbers
sure.
are all over the board, right?
yes.
Depending on where you live, exactly.
All right, and so I think we need to understand it and to come up with comments within the 60-day public comment window.
I think it should probably be Mr. Nelson with Mr. Bruce.
It's above my pay grade.
Yeah, I know, I get it. Mine too. I think it would be Steve, and obviously Mr. Hill's involved.
Well,
in
you
all
may
stuff.
want to pull TNM on this, and at
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point, they may have some input on it.
Obviously Bruce has to be involved too. with the
Yeah, absolutely.
Ramifications.
So at this point, I would say report back in 30 days, Bruce?
The second July meeting? What was?
Okay.
There's only one real
There's only one meeting in
July
July.
first is
the
reorg
16th.
though, but
Right.
it's still.
But there is gonna be the reorg meeting
Right, it's still a meeting.
There's gonna be reorg, but
at one, at July.
Comments are due August 1st.
Okay. Is that okay, Bruce?
Yep.
Okay,
Ready?
thank you.
Carl, would you like to speak about the Veterans
yes.
Park a little?
So, we are receiving, we were corresponding with, a local contractor, so I guess I'll just read the email and then we'll submit something formally to Mr. Hill. Carl, it was great speaking with you about Veterans Park. Tri-Bar Services, Inc. has been in business since 1995. I'm a former resident of Highlands. I have volunteered with local organizations such as Jason's Dreams, the Highlands Business Partnership, many local businesses, and the Highlands Fire Department when they were constructing a new facility. I have provided equipment and resources to Murray's Beach for weekend cleanups. Since Superstorm Sandy, I've had the opportunity to do a lot of work in Highlands with house lifting. I'm amazed at the resiliency of the town and the people that thrive to make Highlands a better place for living and recreation. I would now like to help the town by supplying the labor to reconstruct the boardwalk at Veterans Park. I can have a professional crew available to work in full-day increments as we complete the project. I believe this project should be done in stages. I have looked at the entire project and the repairs that are required to rebuild. The boardwalk nearest the playground measures at 1,500 square feet, and it would be my recommendation that this portion be built first. The action steps would be to first fortify the existing structure and replace the loose support boards, then replace the boardwalk in this area. This would require about 1 week once the borough or HPP provides the materials. We will then decide how best to proceed with the rest of the damaged area. Some options would be to build stairs down to the ground and remove the existing structure, or perhaps provide stairs to access the beach that is there unless, at least some of the time. We can then get the area on the north end completed once the materials can be provided. Thank you for the sponsorship information. I look forward to working with you. So we would like to, somehow, maybe discuss materials and what we can do to get this moving rather quickly and perhaps, authorize Mr. Hill to.
So we don't get bogged down with our meeting schedule, we want to make your reps from the days of council, and then at some point, I don't want to preach everybody, but next week we can get together and
Okay.
have a recommendation for the second meeting.
Well, more importantly, do we know, and I don't know if this is a question for Mr. Hill, do we know the cost of the materials? And
There's an idea, I know that, there's definitely estimates. So
We've had cost estimates, and again, we're talking about rebuilding more resilient, and stairs alone won't do it. You gotta do ramp, there's a lot more design detail that needs to be fleshed out.
Right, so
But
why
we
don't you
certainly
take
wanna
that
look at it.
And come to that meeting with you, and
Okay.
they bring all that data.
So in other words, we can't just replace the structure that was there.
I don't think he's saying you can't. I think
What
he's saying
you're
that's a
suggesting is
good idea.
replacing a section without a ramp or accessibility to it, and that's going against all codes. I think you're aware of that.
He's just talking about doing it in phase. If we could provide all the materials at once, that would be ideal. But I didn't know if that was an option. I guess that's what we're trying to figure out.
If it's designed in phases, I think we can do it that way, but it's gotta be accessible and meet the code compliant
Right.
issues.
So why don't you guys get together, who's you, it's
So
Rebecca and
it's
Kevin,
Barry
right?
Heffernan from Tribal.
No, I'm saying for your liaisons to the council, and Kevin, correct?
Yeah.
From planning board? So maybe one or two to get together with you, and
Okay.
come back to us within 2 weeks, and maybe we can make a decision. Based on the information you guys come together. Is that okay? Okay. Public portion, Mr. Padula, you have some comments?
Oh, sure. I know a lot of people are here to talk about Wounded Sea, so just make sure everyone signed up who wants to speak, either for or against it. There was a sign-up sheet. If you forgot to sign up, the mayor
Or
has
on
it.
any other matter?
It's not too late to sign up. Just to give a little bit of information that we have already. The attorney for Wind & Sea reached out to me last week, and I spoke with him a couple times, and that resulted in a meeting of a couple members of the governing body and myself with Mr. Shields and his attorney. They have proposed several things, we proposed several things, and that's going to be an ongoing discussion, and we're going to work on that a little bit. Some of the things proposed are hiring additional police officers, which would be off-duty that they would pay. we need to speak to the police chief about that. He wants to tweak their recommendation a little bit, so I'm going to take the chief's recommendation back to them. There's going to be proposals dealing with more porta-johns in the area. There's going to be proposals dealing with capacity, the outdoor capacity. There's going to be proposals about closing the door, making it a one-way door at a certain time, whereas in no one can get in. There's no admission after a certain time, but only people can leave, with the intent to lessen the 2 a.m. Now all of a sudden he's out. There's also going to be issues with permits of construction that may or may not have been done after the hurricane. And some of these issues are not unique to there. We know of other situations in other bars that we're looking at. So this is not unique, a lot of this to Windansea, but it will be applied globally around Highland. So it's a process that is an ongoing discussion. I know some of the communication that the council has received talks about complaints made or reports made to various state agencies, prosecutor's office, Division of Fire Safety, and those individuals have reached out to representatives of the borough. So my recommendation is going to be, because that is going on, I would limit your comments to the governing body. We'll try to give as much information as possible, because that is ongoing. We want to listen to the public and might not be able to respond to as much things as the public may like.
Sure.
But because that is an ongoing investigation, that would be my legal recommendation to you.
Okay. First up, Karen, everybody's going to get 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
William Ballard, Broward, I'm sorry. Did I say it right, sir? For the record, your name and address.
Very much.
I apologize. 54 Dewberry Ave?
Correct.
Please,
I
you have
live
the floor.
between Twin Lakes Marina and Windansea.
Okay.
I've lived there since he opened it.
Okay.
I haven't got any complaints at all.
Okay.
Noise or anything.
What would you like to say on that? Anything?
Absolutely.
You're satisfied with everything going on?
Absolutely.
Okay. Blanchard, Graveyard?
Pretty large,
Okay.
yeah. I live at 54 Shores Grove also, and I'd like to say that I have noticed that performers in particular always make mention of the fact that they've tried to keep the noise down in lieu of the neighbors, because the neighbors, so they're aware of it, and I think they're complying with that.
Okay.
I don't have any complaints.
Okay, thank you. Tom Morford.
Yes,
Tom Morford.
Tom Woodford, 136 Linden Avenue. I manage the marina on the bay in
Okay.
Plant Hut. And right now we have an application for the planning board to try to improve the Clam Hut.
Okay,
Tea
yes,
bar,
sir.
restaurant. Our first meeting, we were turned back because of our site plan.
Correct.
Second meeting, we didn't have noticed everyone properly. We were turned back again.
That might have been a question that I was saying.
Subsequent,
Right.
okay, to that, we got a letter that said, hey, you think you guys should get a turn? So
Okay.
we went and we got Mr. McGann.
Okay.
Mr. McGann looked at it, said, hey, we go to this meeting, you're gonna have to get a resolution, that's not gonna show up until July, and then you gotta wait 45 days. So at this point, we've invested a lot of money in the property and cleaning it up and doing everything we've had to do so far.
Okay.
And it seems that right now, we could have, without seating, we could have a food truck.
Okay.
But when we transferred the liquor license, the second part of that was, but you could sell a bottle of soda, but you can't sell a bottle of beer.
Because of the ABC.
No,
Because of what?
because
Chief,
Possibly.
I don't want to put you on the spot, or Bruce, do you know?
The only thing I know about this is I did receive an email from the zoning officer today.
Okay.
That basically was this kind of discussion going back and forth about a truck, and I can do this.
That's something you've been ruled on, or that you discussed it?
I believe the zoning officer has made a determination. I don't know if he formally signed off on anything.
Did you get any letter about this
all
termination?
he said was
Okay.
that you can have a food truck, but you can't have like a portable bar. You can't have you can't have alcohol. He said,
Okay.
you're gonna have to go back to planning. But it just doesn't make sense that he could tell us what we could sell on the truck. You sell a hot dog and a hamburger.
I don't think that he would just discriminate say that. I think it's based on something with the ABC.
But
Joe, do
if
you know
we're-
anything about this, Chief? I don't want to put you on the spot, but you think it's probably something to do with the agency governing
the police department, yeah, I don't know if investigating ABC licenses, but I haven't seen this.
But this was, my point is that when we're approved and the location is approved and the footprint is approved for the license.
I'm gonna ask you to, 2 minutes wrap up, I don't wanna not address you, I'm gonna ask you to see Mr. Hill tomorrow,
Okay,
if you can.
sure.
And hopefully he can give you a comprehensive why that is. I have a feeling it has to do with another agency beyond the borough practice. But I, just from my
Okay,
experience.
well, we're just trying to get some relief.
I'll talk to you I can talk to you for a minute after. So just grab me if you're still here.
Okay,
I'm gonna just give you a card and I'll call you tomorrow.
thank you. John Benton.
This Wyndham C stuff, you want to get the people first, because I have a couple of different things to talk
No,
about.
just gonna go in order, because then it'll be that we didn't do somebody in order, or, you know what I mean, sorry. So, John, you got 2 minutes, everybody's
I
gonna,
just wanted
want everybody to
I
have a
have
chance
some
to
things to
talk.
show to the council.
You hand them out to everybody?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect.
Handing one out to the chief, but he doesn't want them for some reason, I don't know. Basically, for the past couple of weeks, I've been having, problems with parking. I'm basically being blocked in my driveway essentially. And this has been going on for a long, long time. Recently, it's gotten a hell of a lot worse. Last week, there was a problem with equipment that they were working on the street. I had 4 cars parked directly behind my driveway against the bulkhead Captain Cove. I'm regularly flanked on either side by my neighbors. When this happens, either it's virtually impossible or I can't. It's like I'm almost hitting other vehicles and stuff. If you look, I'll go through this. In order to try to send a message to these guys, if you look on page 1, I put up a sign. First day, it seemed like everybody kind of respected it, and nobody was parked back there, and I figured, okay, well, this is good. Next day, it was completely different. I got a bunch of cars parked there. So I called police, they came out, they moved, and that was fine that day. So then on the next day, I had a problem again. I talked to Sergeant Rogers. He said he was going to research the ordinance and get back to me and tell me what, if there anything to be done. And in the meantime, basically document what's going on. Don't be afraid to call the police if I'm having problems I can't get out or whatever. Okay. If you look at the diagram I put on diagram 2 on page 3, this was the situation as I woke up on the morning today actually. So once again, I called the police and George Ruth responded and came out. But it was like a half hour before he showed up. So by the time he showed up, 2 of the vehicles were gone. 2 and 3 were gone. So he pulled in my driveway and said, well, what's the problem? I can get in and out. I said, well, you couldn't have gotten in and out 5-10 minutes ago. So this is the problem I'm continually having. If you look through this, which is pretty self-explanatory, if we look on page 4, this is one of the vehicles I'm having a problem with. He's one of the people that work for Mr. Rosiak. If you look at that, he's got a whole street to park on. There's no
John,
reason.
2 minutes, I apologize. Here's what I'm gonna ask you to do.
Okay.
Chief, is it the same cars?
Yes. One quick thing is I've already been told by 2 of the representatives of the police department that it is now a council issue. They can't do anything about it. The people are legally parked
Joe, is
there.
there anything you can do to enforce the parking there right outside his driveway?
Well, the parking issue there, right, as far as parking on the other side, since that's been built, I think that's gonna be, the ordinance is gonna have to be reviewed.
Okay? Please do me a favor, review that with Tim.
Parking on the side of the street.
Tim, can you
And
review this tomorrow and get back to Mr. Benson?
what I'd like to request is, because like I said, this is a continuing problem, is that parking be prohibited on that side of the street
That's what they're gonna
and
talk about.
possibly be made one way.
I think that's what the chief is talking about as far as the parking goes, and we'll have that conversation
But
about.
like I said, if you look at this, I've documented it thoroughly, and at this point, you know
John, I don't
what the
wanna keep
history is
going, because
there.
then I gotta learn about it, keep going. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Kim Skorka?
Kim Skorka, 315 F Shore Drive. It was my understanding that Wyndham City leases the municipal property for parking. Can you tell me if there's a lease covering it? Okay. And do you happen to know how much that is per year?
It is $1,300 a month for July and August, I believe. May, June, July, and August.
Okay. I have a lot of other questions for the council, and if it'll be, I have this long list that I've been carrying with me.
It's not gonna be 2 minutes, whatever you can answer in 2 minutes.
Can I email it to you
Sure.
and have them allocated to the proper person?
Mhm.
Okay,
Sure.
thank you.
I just asked you and all the members of the public, we recently received guidance from the prosecutor's office about Open Public Meetings Act and using email. If you want to email it, just don't email it to the entire governing body, because that could
You have to do it
constitute.
individually, because we can't reply all, sunshine laws can be violated, an argument can be made.
Okay, so I just, one email
One
to
at a time.
one at a time?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Because
Thank
then
you.
we can inadvertently reply all.
Okay.
Betty, 3 Private Road?
Yes, I went in the house front, there's a sign saying that you can't get on the
beach after dark. And I lived here all my life, and all of a sudden, I can't go down there.
I think that was put there, go ahead, Chief,
Well, we were asked to put that there.
by other
By
residents,
who?
other residents that live there.
And the ordinance does actually say, the beach is a park, so it's dawn to dusk.
So we were asked to enforce that because we were being told by other residents there was activity going on down there. Am I wrong? I mean, tell me.
All of a sudden, all these.
No, I think that
visual
those conversations have been going
enforcement
on probably for the last 6 months with the other residents to a year. You know, it heats up in the summer, obviously, every year, but I think that we started the conversations last summer. And then when, you know, it got cold, there was less activity, then when it got warmer again, it was more.
I still don't know why we can't do that.
Okay. John Urbanski?
First of all, I'd like to say, however this comes out, I'm not against business. I'll tell you one thing. A couple years ago, people took picket fences off a local business and beat each other with them. Last year, a cop was assaulted. People live in the wind and safe. Disrespectful to the neighborhood. They pee on my property, they trespass. I don't want them there. I don't want people peeing there. I believe one was written a citation the other night. The music isn't a big deal, but the music you had the other night had to be twice as loud, starting at 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Okay? This is what leads to out of hand and disrespect. I can't believe that this town would let their people be disrespected in this manner. It's a disgrace. It's a really disgrace. And I'm tired of it. I don't want it on my property. I'm going to call every time. I'm going to take whatever. I don't care what means I got to take. I've had enough. They're slamming that porta potty door on the beach. What's that for him? You're going to put more in the neighborhood? They woke my little guy up. He's 5 years old at 3:30 in the morning by slamming that door. Why aren't these people gone by 3:30? Why? Because we are letting them think that this is okay by not locking them all up. All of them. All of them. A cop gets beat in the street and nothing's done. That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace to this town. Disgrace to everybody in this room that we don't do anything about this. Really, I'm beside myself. I've let this go for years and years. I'm telling Johnny, let it go. Wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad. She said, get your ass up there tonight and speak up. Little kid comes in crying because somebody at 3:30 in the morning is using a porta potty. People were lined up there with no facilities to go, so they peed on my, I think the chief wrote a ticket for peeing on my garbage can that I got to put out Monday morning. Enough is enough. It's unacceptable. Not against business, okay? Let's get that clear. No, let's not pit it in that manner, because that's bullshit. And that's what happens with this. Every time you bring it up, oh, everybody's against business. That's baloney. It's got to stop. It's a disgrace. You wonder why this town gets talked about it like it is, because we let these animals, Danny Shields agreed with me the other day, they're animals when they leave there. Animals, they act like animals, they should be treated like animals, okay?
Thank you, John. Carolyn,
First, I want to apologize for having the earbud. It's only because I want to make sure that the sound
we
is
understand.
good for everyone watching at
Just
home.
name and address, I'm sorry for the record.
Carolyn Brouillon, 12 Miller Street. For the record, I did not ask for a Jumbotron
We didn't
board
say you.
to be put on the beach, but I'm the person that always complains about
You
people
weren't the only person.
hanging out in the, I would say I always complain
No, no,
about
that's
the
fine.
people hanging out in the gazebo, throwing beer bottles at John's foliage, peeing on the porta potty instead of inside the porta potty. So to say that residents asked for the sign to be placed on the beach makes no sense, because why would you say the beach closes at dusk, but if the parking lot and the gazebo is still there, how is that going to stop anyone from hanging out and drinking on the beach? Just like, I'm not going to talk about Sunday night, Monday night, people were sitting on the hitch of the sign drinking beer and peeing on the porta potty. And unfortunately, my new closed-circuit TV cameras don't do night vision too well, but I'm rectifying that. So when I do get that video feed, I will gladly give it to the chief so that he can see that. In fact, I have a flash drive in my pocket right now that shows about 70 cars, most of them wind and sea valets, blowing right through the stop signs, almost getting into accidents. As well as 2 cars driving up and down recklessly on private road, which they're not supposed to be driving on at all. which I will gladly give this to the chief right now. And I would be happy to share any film of any bad doings that ever happened that come up from my property.
For the record, you asked me to put that sign there.
I did not ask you to put a huge OEM sign on the beach saying that people shouldn't go on the beach. I said, if you need to do something, I said, you could park in my parking lot. I mean, in my driveway. Those are my exact words. And you can go back to the videotape because it's there.
Thank you, Darren. Anne Marie Tierney?
Anne Marie Tierney, 9 Fox Meadow Lane, and also Twin Entrance Gray Avenue. There's been a lot back and forth the past week. I'm not going to waste my time telling you how I feel. You all know how I feel. We've been talking about this for 10 years. Every single one of you on the town council has told us that you're going to do something about it, and nothing's been done. So now we're over the line. Here's what's false about all the rumors that are flying around right now. There's no outside limit on how many people could be in the Windy Sea. 100% false. The planning board set the limit on that building at 165 people inside and out based on available parking spaces. An attempt was made in 2003 to increase that number because he leased the Bayman slot, which he hasn't always legally leased over the past 10 years. Dave Parker, who I respect tremendously for having the strength and courage to stand up and put the record straight, put an amendment together that all of you have. Anyone who wants a copy of it, I have 20 copies with me, and I'm happy to show you the facts. Let's stop bullshitting each other and talk about the facts. The number's 165. Dave Parker said the number is 165. Dave Parker said there's no additional occupancy for outside at all because you have to assume those people are going to come in if there's inclement weather or they want to use the bathroom. The number is 165. Joe, I appreciate that your guys may not know what the number is, and you're doing the best you can, but the scene on Sunday of all the photographs, and we have the photographs Tom will present, that were on the Wind Seas website that they took down as soon as this brouhaha started. That's the backyard of the Wind Sea on Sunday night. That's the new illegal bar that was built that none of you have shut down. How can you not be shutting down a bar that's illegal? On your own police water, there were 600 to 800 people there on Monday night. How is that not a health, fire, and safety issue? People need to do their job. I have absolutely nothing but respect for our police department and our fire department. You all do a good job, but we have absolute appalling record of code enforcement in this town that costs us money. We know that FEMA won't give us grants because we're not FEMA compliant, and building after building has been put up that's not complying with our own codes and regulations. Stop it. Stop telling us that we need a business that's breaking the law in order to bring people to Highlands. That is not true. We need good businesses that follow the rules. We need you to enforce the code. We need you to limit it to 165. The other thing that's not true is that liquor license cannot be conditioned. I spoke to the ADA myself. Absolutely can. Pardon?
2 minutes is up.
Okay.
We're going to go to the next person. Jeremy Harris?
Yes, good evening. My name's Jeremy Harris. I live on 51 Shrewsbury Avenue. I bought my property about 6 years ago. It was small, nice cottage on Shrewsbury Avenue. I was excited to buy the property. I looked forward to living in this neighborhood. It was because of the people that make up this community. I was excited to live across the street from Wind and Sea. I live in a Wind and Sea community, as well as Highlands. And I think, whether you like it or not, that's just the way it is. We live in a beach community where we have limited parking, we live across the restaurant, there's going to be loud people coming out every night. And it's just the life we live down here. I chose it. I love it. My kids love it. There's live music across the street. It's what makes Highlands what it is. And I just want to say, I totally support my community. Opinions aside, but I have no problem with the restaurant. My neighbors have no problem with the restaurant, my direct neighbors. And I'm here to support Wind and Sea. And it was a fantastic time on Sunday. And that ball is awesome. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Patricia Catalano?
Hi, Patricia Catalano, 2 Private Road. I'm here because I'm concerned about the parking lot that's on Miller Street and Shrewsbury next to the public beach.
Last year I came because of the concerns of the noise. Last summer, we had a call about 4 times every Saturday night through like 4 o'clock in the morning because of all the noise that happened. So I'm here to request control, to please get control of this situation. If you can't, please get help, like you're saying, have them hire. Wyndham C should hire someone at their expense and pay, and take care of that. Another thing, the bathroom. There is a bathroom already there, but it's not used appropriately. The door is slammed all the time. People are smoking pot in there, drinking, throwing bottles, having sex, noise. It's horrible. We hear it, we wake up, and they're there through the night. So one is enough. They need to use it properly. And anyway, I think you'd use the bathroom at Wyndham C before you come. I don't think that's what you need. But please get control of the situation before someone gets hurt. We have people coming on our property too, urinating, vomiting. It's awful.
To be clear, anything that we do, we're gonna do at every single bar that has an outside,
Well, I'm
establishment
concerned
or-
about the parking lot,
I
because it's
understand.
not, if you say
But
it's
the
not
controller
Wyndham
should be
C,
saying we're going
they're
to attack
parking there overnight. It states no overnight parking. So maybe end it at midnight, and then they get out of there, and they're not hanging out at the gazebo sleeping or drinking. And
There's been some staging down discussions that really only started in the last 48 hours. To give you more details, I can't right now for 2 reasons. One, they're not finished, and 2, that there's an ongoing investigation by the prosecutor's office. But whatever we do decide will not be a spot zone against Wyndham C. We're going to try to have control.
Well, it's the parking lot,
I understand.
But it is, but please get control of that parking lot.
Thank you.
Oh, and there's one other thing I'll add. This is on the sidebar. The beach, at the beach, there was a sign, and I guess someone came and removed the broken sign. That was a good idea, because kids could get hurt.
That was talked about.
Okay, but it's left now, there's like 6 inches there.
Trying to shear that off to go get that done.
There's a 6-inch
Can you get that done?
rusty, some kid's gonna fall and get
We got that scheduled to be done, but obviously.
Okay.
Thank you for telling us. Emily Burris, 40 Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury Avenue. I purchased my house 5 years ago, and I understand where I live. You deal with the noise. I understand, there are people who want to come there, and I certainly am, a big supporter of business. But I do have some safety concerns. I agree with your comments about public urination, public vomiting. I saw a gentleman urinating from a child. It's not the sort of thing that we really want to see.
Sure.
I've seen violence, and I've seen dangerous parking situations where people are parked clearly in the yellow zone or past the corner. And I saw a lady leaving the bar last week, and she was nearly run over because the traffic couldn't see her. She was crossing on the corner, but you couldn't see her because the cars were parked illegally. So I don't want a tragedy to bring negative attention to violence, especially during this time. It's such a great place, and it's such a great opportunity to bring people here. And I really do believe that there is a compromise that can be reached with the residents and with Wyndham C. We certainly don't want to hurt people coming. That's certainly not the point. But I think if it is an issue of insufficient policing or insufficient security, then I'm sure that we can do something about that. That is a fixable problem.
Thank you, Nancy. Joe Burke? No, I'm sorry, Joe here. Joe, I'm sorry, name and address for the record?
It is D9, outside court.
Karen's there too? Oh.
Yeah. Well, pick 2 minutes each?
No, sorry. Yeah, one each if you want.
Alright. Well, I bought my condo 11 years ago. One of the reasons why I moved to Highlands is because it was a destination. And I feel like after the hurricane, it took us a long time to get back to being a destination where people want to come. And we actually did not go to Wyndham C on Memorial Day weekend because it was so crowded. But one of the things I must say is that Danny Shields is probably one of the most stand-up citizens in this town. Whenever there is the need to do a free Thanksgiving dinner, if there's ever the need to a donation or something to make this town better, Danny stands up. I don't necessarily know that anybody would have thought it would have drawn the crowd that it did that weekend. You had Brian Kerr, you had gorgeous weather, and you had the only game in town. I don't think that that's going to be the case going forward, but I think as a community, we need to embrace what this town is about, and that's becoming a destination, and that means embracing the businesses and embracing the different restaurants. And there's going to be parking problems, there's going to be, who's to say that the urination and the fights are not coming
coming from other restaurants or coming from, people coming from fishing boats. I'm just saying, I've seen it. I watch people come off of the fishing boats drunk. It doesn't mean it's Danny's problem.
I agree.
It's something that they think their tail, but it's not his problem. And I just think we have to have a little bit more of a, a community approach to this rather than, it's Danny's problem because people are drunk. It's not necessarily his problem. It's those people that are doing things that, are making us angry. But, we can handle those things and not just make it like Danny Shields' problem.
Thank you, Kevin. Arnie Huber or Michelle? Maureen, I'm sorry, which one? You're okay? Okay. I can't read the name. 5C Hillside. Rick Korn, there you go. I'm sorry, Rick.
I just want to.
Just name and address, please, for the record.
Oh, sorry. 5C Hillside. I just want to say that I agree with Karen said. We have been involved in this community for a relative short time. I can tell you that the businesses really did step up. And after the hurricane, a lot of people in this town were fed because of that. And a lot of beds were handed out because of that. So I think, to your point, I think everyone just needs to work together. We are a community, and that's a key word. So I feel for the people that live down there, absolutely this danger needs to end. And I know that you all will figure that out. And that will end the problem. But, I feel everyone's side.
Thank you, Rick. Reader at 409 Bay Ave. Pass, thank you. John Snyder. And also John. John, you still here? John.
I didn't sign up.
Okay, someone signed you up then. I'm sorry.
I accept on behalf of the people. I am not signed up as well.
You want to come up and sign? We're going right down the list. Come on up. Jennifer Olson?
I'll put my 2 minutes to Anne Marie if you'd like to finish.
No, sorry. Can't do
This
it.
isn't Congress.
We don't make that much for doing nothing. Did you pass, Jennifer? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Tom at 25 Miller?
As far as everybody saying, like, I know there's no such thing as Windy City community. This is Highland. It's always been Highland. It always will be Highland. Windy City is a great place when it was a restaurant. When you turned it into a mosh pit, it turned into hell. On Sunday, my wife and I went to find Dave Parker, who was on vacation, which is great. We searched out, we found the chief of the fire department, Billy. Billy said he had no power to do anything.
Thank you.
He said he had to reach out to the assistant fire marshal. He reached out, unfortunately, the assistant fire marshal was in the middle of this mosh pit. So I have no idea how this works, why an official of this town would be going to something like this with over 800 people and doing nothing. His official duty is to enforce the code. He didn't enforce it. I think this official should be removed and another official who wants to do the job be in place. It's getting to the point where you can't even breathe on our block. I mean, I've been coming here, people have been here 6 years, 68 years. I've been here 60 years. Highlands is a great place. It is a destination place. It's a family place. You know, they got rid of trade winds and Seabright. We got wind and Sig. It's not really a fair exchange. I mean, Danny's a great guy. I know Danny, I talk to him all the time. He's a surfer, I'm a surfer. Danny's a great guy. But as far as business, Danny thinks about Danny. Danny don't think about his neighbors. Danny don't think about Highlands. Danny's not putting another penny in the coffers of Highlands. He's Danny's putting the money in his pocket. Nobody else. And he has the right to. He's a businessman. He made an investment. He's the right to. I think the town needs to do something here. And as far as the Mill Street parking lot, it needs to be closed or regulated. People are parking in the driveway. I've had a chief down there, he's seen himself. He couldn't get out of the driveway. He had to drive across the sidewalk. Something needs to be done. Somebody's going to be injured, and the town's going to be liable. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Would you like to finish? Would you like to finish? I don't want to,
Kathleen Murray,
I make copies for everybody. Sorry.
319A.
Kathleen Murray, 319 Shore Drive. I live across from Havana, and I just wanted to say I support Havana. I have no issue with the music that's played there. They lived with me and supported me understand but also they came to me and said, the noise is loud, please let us know. I have not had any issues. I think the ferry traffic is louder than the noise coming from there.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. Wayne O'Neill?
Wayne O'Neill, 293 and 52 Shrewsbury Avenue. As far as the noise goes, I don't have any complaint there. In fact, the bands and stuff there actually, I think, help my business because I have more customers that have their friends come and folks now. And they come and they barbecue and listen to music. So it actually helps the business.
Okay.
As far as, I know somebody ripped a piece of fence off and beat somebody with it, that in Mark Place. It's now a chain link fence, so I don't think anybody can rip that off. Plus, they're trying to keep the parking lot well lit, so we have the cameras out, so. Trying to help what we can do.
And I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Barbara Iannucci?
Barbara Iannucci, 20 Shrewsbury Avenue. First, I want to say I'm not against business at all. Larry Colby brought up in his campaign, we are a village of no. I do not want business to come into town and think they don't have the potential to grow. So there has to be flexibility with going back to the planning board, the zoning board, following code compliance in order to allow a business to have the potential of growth. So I think that what we're hearing here is a lack of code enforcement. It's not any attack on any business because they are operating, they're making money and revenue, and that's why they came to the town. Another issue I want to bring up has to do with an ordinance you passed in April, R14-122, that had to do with civil rights and employee manuals and the way the borough was going to deal with conduct, code of conduct for harassment, discrimination. There was an incident, which I noticed is on your closed executive session, that had to deal with a letter of complaint for the accident. I know Tim Hill was going to write up some type of written procedure based on that ordinance. And I also know the council was to write a written statement saying they unequivocally were committed to this resolution for harassment. With this letter, I do know that you received the letter. It did not follow any procedure or protocol that should have been written for a process of any form of discrimination or any harassment to the public. And it included volunteers, included employees, included the public.
Barbara, what letter are you talking about?
The letter that Becky King received
From who?
from Larry Balcom,
Okay.
Karen Balcom.
Okay.
And the letter was going to be submitted to Tim Hill, the administrator.
Okay.
Becky was aware of it. She brought it to a firehouse meeting of the fire officers. And I don't think that followed the intention of your ordinance 14-122 when such a complaint is presented for public interest to the borough administrator.
What was the content of the
There
letter? I
was,
didn't get a letter.
Mayor, there was
Tim
no
Hill
letter
aware of it.
formally
And
submitted
it
to the,
wasn't an executive closed session. I see that on the back of your minutes right here.
There was
So
no.
somebody talked about it.
Mayor, there was no formal letter submitted to the borough administrator signed by anyone.
No, that's because Becky came,
Well,
asked to review it with the fire department.
Okay, I want to make it clear, though, there was no letter
Yes, I'm aware of
submitted
that.
to the borough on behalf, or signed by anyone for action to be taken.
Because it was pretty much, intercepted before it could get to that point.
How would it not go to Tim's email if they sent it to him or delivered it to him?
No, I think you're missing the point.
But how would it be intercepted if they sent it to Tim's
Because
email?
Becky Kay, did you not ask Karen Balcom for a copy of the
I
letter?
did, because I was
Karen
here, so
Balcom,
I wanted
so
to mitigate it. So
How did
I
you
asked
hear
for a
about it?
copy, of the letter because some business owners and residents said that someone was soliciting signatures for this
Yes.
letter. So I couldn't possibly not know what it said, so I asked Karen.
Signatures as far as what, that someone else wrote the letter? Or?
That someone else wrote the letter, but it was unsigned, it was a lot of we, but it came from Karen Balcom's email.
And there are signatures, but it never got to that point, because
So what
Karen
I
in
did
good
was-
faith felt you were taking care of it. As a
Right,
council
but
person.
then the problem was we had a councilman-elect start going to the administrator, so we let him handle it in that purview, and we discussed it tonight in executive.
Right, so it was.
So now and Karen is well aware, I had spoken with her that it was gonna be dealt with in executive and not at the fire department level.
Yes, no, and we were very concerned that it was handed to you rather than to Hill.
So, but
When
it was
Karen
never
Alphonse did
received.
that.
Why?
Why didn't you send it to Tim Hill?
Because, well, first of all, because of this ordinance of 14-122, where there should be procedures, there should be a protocol in order to have any concern of public interest, go to Tim Hill first.
Right, so
Well,
why didn't you send it to Tim
So
Hill?
why
The
would
fire
it,
department.
why would it be in class
No, no. Why didn't it go to Tim Hill?
There's a lot of legal issues.
No.
That I don't know.
Okay, so that's nothing to do with us. If the process is go to the borough administrator, send it to his email, and that didn't happen.
You'll have the signatures tomorrow morning in your office.
Okay.
We already discussed this.
But my point is,
Trying to help the fire department.
following Becky's good intentions to resolve the issue outside of, or these ordinances we have, or complaints of public interest,
So then forward them to Tim Hill.
we did get harassment, which was exactly what's stated in this resolution.
Then I would formally
14-122.
send a complaint to Tim Hill, borough administrator, or to the chief of police if there's anything.
Can I ask? Who was harassed?
Pardon?
Who was harassed?
Who was harassed following the meeting?
Now, this,
All right, Ryan Britton, and indirectly, got a card.
Okay.
Karen
So then all those complaints should be filed with Tim Hill formally.
thank
In
you.
an official vehicle saying, we are coming to get you, I am going to get you.
Then I would
And he
file
was
with the
very
police or
livid
with the,
because he was aware of the letter from the night before the firehouse, because Becky showed them the letter before the
No,
town
actually, I
administrator.
did not share that with them, but thanks.
Well, there was a reason the next morning.
He had gotten a copy through somebody.
yeah, okay.
But anyway.
All right,
Thank you, Barbara. I would say file a complaint to Mr. Hill or the police.
I would say enforce your ordinances.
Sure,
Enforce your
we have to
code.
know about it though.
Enforce the code.
Send me a letter and we'll send it through the proper channels to
Proper
Tim Hill.
conduct.
Thank you.
Can I
Carlos,
just
follow?
add, can I just add to the council that, I have a copy of that letter which is unsigned, so we weren't really sure who the we was referring to. My office is looking into it. The letter apparently arose out of a serious motor vehicle accident and I guess securing the scene while
Okay.
the accident was being taken care of up on Highway 36. But we're still looking.
Okay. Thank you. Carlos, follow?
I just want to say that I thought it was a really good thing that the council took action to permit, the music for the 2 weekends out of the year where the town is busy and the businesses are busy. As everybody knows, it's very hard for businesses to survive here in the off-season months. So I thought that was very good of the council. The police department works very hard with us to try to understand the needs of, both the residents and the businesses, as well as the fire department. I think everybody really pulls together to try to, help us prosper. As a resident, I too live near Havana. I've had other businesses in my backyard, over the years, and I understand the pain of those people. But I think for the one day out of the year, I just think to, start, and I don't know that you are, I'm just, again, it's a lot of rumors and hearsay, to consider putting an ordinance in place to limit the people at establishments outside just for 1 or 2 days out of the year, I think is a little bit much, and it's probably gonna hurt some of the businesses that, really need it the most. So I just urge you to please take that into consideration, and hopefully we can all work together and come up, and if there's anything the HVP can do with additional signage or enforcement, anything we can do to help, we'd be happy to do that, and I just
I think our goal is to not make gray area, but let's find out what the capacity should be outside. And let's be very clear, we're not talking about Lincoln City, we're talking about every
That's right.
outdoor establishment townwide.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying,
So it's not picking on or, spot zoning, it's gonna be a clear thing that's gonna be a formula, which I'm sure is already established at the state level to do that. Thank you, Carla. Melissa Peterson?
Mr. Peterson, so we raised you, a couple of things. One, the finance committee, are we ever meeting again, or did that just go away?
Sometime in July.
You haven't done. Okay, and how are you informing people of?
Well, it was only 2 people, me, you, and one other guy.
Exactly.
So that would be via email. That would be via email. Which I sent 3 times, you didn't say you got it, then I copied me and you got it.
Well, no, you actually probably got a bounce back, because I had Joe forward me the last one you sent, and, I don't know why you didn't respond when you got a bounce back. I can show you exactly how to send your email, so instead of giving you.
That's a work email, that's set by IT at $1 billion a year business, so that's just how it's set. But, like I said, I sent it 3 times in a second. The last time I copied me, and you forgot. Either way,
Okay.
we'll get the word out there to them, 3 people.
You know how to use the email correctly. The second thing, in the last, when we allowed the, you guys allowed the businesses to actually be open, Memorial Day and Labor Day, I asked for some type of compromise if it was, not adhered to on Memorial Day, that they would not get Labor Day. And we couldn't actually put that in the ordinance, however, the attorney indicated that that could be rescinded. So I asked for it to be rescinded, because apparently, they couldn't handle it for Memorial Day, so they don't get Labor Day. I think that's a fair compromise. They could have obeyed the rules, not went over capacity, done some things on their side, and they didn't do it. This isn't new. I have meeting notes from August 2012, where same people were making the same complaints about Women C. Danny was supposed to hire people, additional police officers at the time. How come there wasn't additional police officers for Memorial Day? That Danny hired? How many were there?
There was one officer at the time.
You can work that out. I appreciate it.
Okay. Gary Brandon?
Barry Brandon, 39 Cornwall Street. I'm here to support Women C. I live right in the neighborhood. People park in front of my house. At times I call the PD. They come readily, and if they're blocking the driveway, they get them out of the way. Women C is a big deal for our community. I don't know if a lot of people remember, after the storm, Robbie Higgins in the firehouse kitchen making lunch after lunch after lunch to try to relieve the fireman cooks. They're great, and just like somebody else said, whenever it's time to support Highlands, Women C is there no matter what. The music, I can't hear the music from my house, and if I did, I'd probably go down if I was awake. Everyone goes away on vacation to an island or to someplace and they want to go where there's music, they want to go where there's outside seating. Can't turn that away. It's finally back on its feet, and if they're making money, let them make money. If they have to hire more police officers and come to some agreement with the council, then enforce that. But you can't you can't cut them back. I mean, if you got to cut them back on size, absolutely. Whatever is safe with the fire code. But other than that, us in the neighborhood, we deal with it. I pick up broken bottles, out in front of the house or a couple, whatever. You sweep it up and you go on.
Thank you very much. Pat Walsh?
Well, I want to say, I totally agree with Gary Brennan.
Okay.
And I support Dan Shields. He worked really hard to build his business. He pays his taxes. He brings a lot of money into this town. And, all right, everybody's complaining about last week when he had the one special day. It was out of the ordinary, but after what the guy went through with Sandy, can you tell him a break? And also, I was just looking for an apartment there on Bay Avenue. And the reason I didn't take an apartment, no, not a bed, down by Shrewsbury Avenue, was because I knew. All right, so I have one parking spot. There's going to be cars behind me. This is the town I live in. I'm right across the street from a bar. So I didn't take it. I moved up to Portland Road. Kind of like when I was working at Gators. All right, I had people upstairs that moved into a bar and they're complaining. Don't move into a bar if you're going to complain. So my point is, I feel bad for the homeowners, but you know what? You're living across from 2 bars. This is what happens. And it's a summer place. It's 3 months after the summer.
Thank you, Pat. Stacy Gilchrist?
Hi, my name is Stacy Gilchrist, and I'm the general manager of Women's Aid. I think the point that I want to make is that you guys are looking at events from one night. You guys are not looking at things that we do on a daily basis. The family dinners, the birthday parties, the bridal showers, the weddings, the electricity. You're not there to see how much we struggle in the winter because we don't have any support. We'll be closed Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And now we're even thinking about closing on Thursdays. We have 12 to 14 weeks out of the year that we get to make our money because we're a destination and we're located in Highlands, a community that we love being a part of, and that we would do anything for. And I'm sorry that you guys feel that it's an inconvenience, and we understand. And we're going, can I speak?
Please, let's let her talk.
We're gonna do everything in our power to fix it. But as much as we support the community, we would like your support too. Thank you.
Thank you. John Looney.
No, John Looney, 52 Atlantic Street, Highlands. I've been coming down to Highlands for the summers my whole life, dating back to Connor's Hotel. For the past 20 years, off and on, I've been living in Highlands. I work in Midland City. I know what this community looks like in the summer, and I know what it looks like, off season. We have tumbleweeds going down that area in the off season. But in the summer, it's thriving. And because, working at Midland City, I'm there at night. I was there on Sunday night. I know for a fact that Damien is out there himself patrolling the parking lot, trying to keep the crowd noise down. If anybody's getting too loud, we warn the security staff. I myself walk around up a couple of blocks to pick up bottles and cups and stuff like that, so neighbors don't, wake up and have to deal with that. They are actively, as the lawyer says, they're actively pursuing, a resolution that everybody can be on board with. And, if you do have, 3 months or 12 weeks to make their money to sustain themselves for what was last year a long, hard winter. So I know that Danny and the co-owner, Robbie, they are definitely actively seeking a solution, and they will definitely work with everybody to respect the town. Because they do. They opened up this business because they love the town, and they would like to have maybe a little love shown back on them. Is this weekend, is the weekend question last weekend going to happen every weekend? No. But we are definitely, myself, and I know this for a fact, that through Danny and Robbie, that they are definitely actively seeking a solution to make everybody happy. Thank you.
Veronica Fennell.
This isn't something, a new occurrence within the city. I am totally pro-business. I know where I live. I grew up here. I worked in restaurants as a teenager myself. I'm all for a restaurant. I am not for a nightclub in my neighborhood. I am not for not having things that are approved being violated and not enforced. God forbid there was someone who needed an ambulance or a house put on fire, their house would burn down. It is scary. It was complete, absolute pandemonium. It is a dangerous situation that needs to be rectified. And I am pro-business, and I am all for restaurants in my neighborhood. I know where I live. And I have a suggestion. Maybe after 9 o'clock at night, Miller Street parking lot, maybe that would leave some of it, because there's so many people in and out of that. Maybe that should be closed, resident-only parking after 9 o'clock, and the porta potty should be locked. Maybe that could leave some of it. And if people are on the beach after that time, then they get a ticket.
Okay. Thank you.
Because you know what? I went to clubs when I was a teenager, when I was in my early 20s. I went to Belmar, I went to Seabright. You didn't walk out of those clubs and talk with the tone of voice I'm talking. Because you would have got a ticket and you would have got locked up. You just didn't do it.
Okay. Thank you. Carl Pittman.
Hi. My name is Carl Pittman. I live at 20 Cedar Street, Midland. I'm not pro or against Midland City, but I want demonstrating concise argument. Okay. I grew up in a very small town in northern Bergen County. I moved here 8 years ago. The reason I moved here was for a sense of community. A community which I like. Everybody, you walk into a business, people leave. You walk down the street, people set all over. And most of the people in this room will know, during Irene and Sandy, I did what I could, okay, to help the community, whether it be gutting houses, building parks. So I'm not pro or against anything. But I am a man of numbers. And when I look at numbers, if you look, we are a destination community, okay? If you look at Point Pleasant, if you look at Belmar, okay, there will be a amount of recidivism on violations through Memorial Day weekend, Labor Day weekend, and 4th of July weekend. It's a fact. We're a destination community. Can we blame it on Danny Shields? Probably not. Okay. So I really think we need to deflect what happened with Danny Shields and move forward to how we can come together as a community. I love this town. I'm a part of this town. Blame it all on at the end of the day, would we all agree the service we have in this community is pretty good? Right? The police, the firemen, the DPW, all the potholes that were filled over a very harsh winter. And a cold, harsh reality is, we do have some of the highest taxes in Monmouth County. So how do we offset the level of service we have, which I consider pretty good? That is through building existing business and inviting new business. In my opinion, by cascading Danny Shields and win the state, that says a very
Carl, 2 minutes are up, I'm sorry. Thank you. Brian Adams.
Brian Adams, 29 Central Ave. Just to change it a little bit, I live behind the skate park, and I have to deal with kids and stuff all the time.
I live on the other side.
You know what I mean? What are we supposed to do? Take away the skate, take away the kids stuff, take away everything.
Slam fest, same thing.
I have the slam fest behind my house. I have lights in there, people yelling, screaming, but what are you supposed to do? You deal with it. We're at a beach, and if you're gonna take everything away, you gotta take it all. So that's how I do it.
Yes, offered by Mayor Nolan.
Second by Mr. Franklin.
Ms. Ryan? Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Mr. Francie? Ms. Kane? Mayor Nolan?
Yes. Coming up.
Hang on, wait, stop.